and Boulder vlog, 22nd of September 2021 on I don't remember, Thursday or something. I didn't do my video yesterday for the 21st. I just had a foot-long Subway sandwich. I had a coupon for 2 Subways for $13, so I guess I'll have the other one for dinner. I guess I'll use these till they run out. I actually drank again last night. It doesn't help me work when I do that, because I just sit there and I sip and do whatever, but I think I did a little bit of work after that, but then I couldn't do anymore. I crashed. It was like, I was up till like 5, and I was up till like 4, whatever, the day before, because I guess this video is for 2 days worth. Yesterday, my mom called me and wanted me to go over so I could carry this heavy metal plant stand from the common yard area of her townhome up into her deck, because she can't do that, and then put the big glass panes in it. That was like the final step of the painting of her deck and everything. So, and then we talked for a while, like an hour or something, about me, but I don't want to talk about that. And then I came back here and I was working. So since the last time I was doing the video, I was like, I just did the finished Sequani, Helveti, and I think I did a little bit of, maybe it was a day of doing tracing roads and stuff. So then yesterday I was gonna just trace roads up to the first battle of Bibracte of the Gallic Wars. I'm doing Julius Caesar's Gallic Wars on Google Earth. And then I got there, and at that point I figured it was time to get caught up on some other things. Like figure out what a Roman legion looks like and stuff like that. Because I decided I want to just go ahead and draw the whole battle up on the hill and everything. And I saw this old ruins and actually examples of old Gallic houses. They look like normal houses, they're just small. I think if you were to go down to ancient Gaul, people would be like super surprised by how similar it is today. People kind of imagine it being super old looking, like thatched houses and stuff, but I think it looked really similar to today back in those days. Were like huts made out of like twigs and, but they actually knew how to like cut wood and stuff. Anyway, so I saw this old ruin up there, like an old stone fort, and I wanted to know how big a legion would be, because the first thing they did when they got there was one of his guys, Lucius something or other, Cornelius or something, went up there with 2 legions, so I wanted to draw 2 legions. I drew because Caesar camped 10 miles from there, so I put where their camp would be, and then I drew in a trip from there to where the legion would be, and the 2 legions on the top of the mountain, and I already had 2 lines of walls there that I could trace. I could saw through, and I even saw like old grown-in road. I'll probably draw that in, but I think a lot of the stuff that's from like 2,000 years ago, Gallic times, you can still see now. They even did excavation on the Battle of Alesia, and they found the walls from Alesia. So it'd be cool if they could show that on Google Earth. But so I just typed in Roman Legion, and I saw that like in Marsala, Sicily, they have like a part of the city which was part of a legion, which was built over a legion, and so you can see this perfect square, so that'd be cool. I'll try to include that in something. I haven't gotten around to it yet, and then the process, I discovered the longest still standing bridge from Rome, It was built in like Trajan, like 100 BC. I mean 100 AD, so like 1900 years, almost 2,000 years, 1970 years, 1980 years, and yeah, and it's still used. It's paved over, and they still use it, so that's pretty cool. Anyway, that was in Spain, but like Saragossa, Spain. But then so I wanted to compare it to. They had a picture of a legion they found. Like if you type legion on Wikipedia, they'll have a picture of the legion, like detailed, and that's this thing they found in Germany. I went there and I found where the location is because I saw the map, but there's no evidence of it. I guess they found it through like X-ray. They didn't dig it up yet or something. They found it from X-raying the ground or something. But I put a marker on there to put it in future Google Earths. I always do that. I put markers on, even if I just put the marker inside of what I'm working on now. At least the record is there, and then I can drag it over later. But and then I saw they have the picture of the Legion on what is it? Masala, Egypt. I mean Israel. Masala is this hilltop fort, and you can still see the ruins of it, and it's a really steep hilltop. And when I think it was Vespasian was sieging, it's written by, and you can read about it in Josephus, and then the Jewish Wars. Who was a Jewish citizen who was actually a Jew who lived there, who worked for the Romans. So, and also you can see at the base of it though, not just the ruins of Masala on the top where the Jews like refuge to, but at the bottom you can see at least I think a couple, but at least one really good outline of a legionary camp. So and I already put it up in the mountains here for my fantasy Mountaintopia place. So I went in there and I just drug it from there over to France, and just to see how big it was on top of Bibracte, and it was the same size. So I was like, is that an old outline to a standardized legionary type camp for Rome? And so then I wanted to know how many people you could fit there. So I saw somebody had a website. I think somebody who's wants to sell Roman stuff. If you want to buy a Roman tent, you can buy it now. They make it, and he makes all Roman gear and weapons and stuff. That's pretty cool. But so he said the Roman tent, I guess for a general is 355 centimeters by 355 centimeters by 365 tall. But then the general, I mean the head of the legionary, the centurion or somebody would have one that's 296 by 296 by 2 high. I guess he gets that for himself. But then there's the other tent where the 10 guys share, but only 8 have to sleep there at a time because 2 would have to stand guard outside. But that's 296 by 296 by only 150 high. But so I saw what 296 by 296 was, and you can only fit 280 of them in that area. So, and you would need at least 480. If you're gonna be able to use all the people from a legion and just put them all butted up next to each other like it's a diamond or something. So those that Masala legionary camp and then the other one on top of Bibracte are for something else, something that I haven't seen. Maybe they break up the legionary camps into something smaller. I was gonna read Lactatius Curtius, or Curtius Lactatius, his description of all the legionary camps again. His book in the year 300 or something he wrote, and see if he mentioned a smaller division. But I'll just have to look. Maybe it's cohorts get their own camps sometimes. If the ground is uneven and they spread them out. So I'll see what a cohort would look like inside that size, because I'd like to find that out later on. And maybe I'll even put it on Bibracte. I don't know. But but then I was at that point I was oh, let's go ahead and just Google Earth all the battles. Let's not do it sequentially, page going forward from the beginning of the book on the Gallic Wars. Let's just do Google Earth all the battles, you know. And I've been wanting to Google Earth battles with the population and everything for a long time, so I figured now would be a good time. So I decided to do Alesia because that's the most interesting one. And so yeah, that's what I did yesterday, and that's why I kind of didn't do my video. I was just working because it was like a lot of work, you know. Because he said that there's 11 mile wall around Alesia that the Romans made. So I drew 11 mile wall, and then I was like, well, let's perfect it, you know. Let's make it like exactly how it looked then. Because if you just do 11 mile an hour wall around, it's like it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't have any gravitas to it, you know. It doesn't bring you there and make you feel like you're living there. So I just spent all night long just perfecting it, getting really close, you know, looking at it diagonally, looking at all the undulations. Google Earth, the terrain features and shape of the hills and stuff is so good. It's almost like it's as good. I feel like it's as good as flying over like in a plane. It's amazing, or in a helicopter. So my little jetpack. So. Yeah, I drew it, and it made sense, you know, how they drew it, because like they wanted to besiege Alesia, but they also had to protect themselves from the outside world, so they built 2 walls, and they made it so if the Alesians wanted to escape, it was like they were being besieged, because then they had to go up a hill. I think it's the only time I've heard anybody do that. It's brilliant, But then, yeah, I drew. But then, and after I perfected that, I made it the exact size. I then had to draw it, you know, holding it down, do another one. So I have one that shows it's the size, and then the other one where I draw it. Because when you draw it like this, it doesn't show the size because it kind of veers a little bit. And then I drew the 23 parapets or whatever he calls them. What do they call them? Redoubts around it, the forts, and then I made them with 2. I made them with the line and then with the polygon. So the polygon shows the platform, but then the line shows the like the fence that goes up above it. It looks really good. Like with the polygon tool, with Google Earth, I think you can make stuff just realistic enough. So then I drew the the line around the side, the outside, and I drew where like Vercingetorix, his troops were 10 miles south, and like and then and then today, yeah, all day I was working. I slept in late until like 12, but I was working on I finished the line. Then I drew the ditch around the inside of it, which took forever because I made it realistic. I made the ditch like right next to the it's like 11 kilometers, like 10.13 miles, 11 Roman miles, 10.13 miles, 16 kilometers, and I put the he said his fence was 2 meters high, and then I put a ditch next to it. He said it was 20 feet deep. He didn't say how wide it was, but I made it like really like no more than 20 feet wide or less than that, going around 10.13 miles. So it took forever. And while I was doing it, I was like, oh shit, is it gonna like run out of memory? Because if you try to trace something that's too big, it'll just give up. It'll run out of memory. And I was probably pretty damn close. I was happy that I made it. But when I was done with it, it was all hovering above the ground. And usually when they do that, all you have to do is like click on one of the little points, and then it brings it back down. But I clicked on the point, and it didn't bring it back down. It was still like hovering like 100 feet above or something. And I was like, oh man, I hope this works later. But whatever. At least it'll work on another computer one day. But so yeah, I had the ditch on the inside, and then I had the wall, and then I decided to just go ahead, you know. See, it's good to have situational awareness and realize, you know, it's okay to go into something at the beginning and think it's only going to take a little bit, but then realize that it's how important it is, and then just go ahead and spend as much time as you need on it. And Alesia is one of those things that you want to just take your time with, especially also because it's the first one that I've worked on, right? So I do this one, and then the other ones can kind of be modeled after this. So that's why I like to start with the most complicated one. So then I decided to just draw on the buildings, because you can see the buildings there. So I draw on the buildings, not with the same detail as Rome though, where you draw on just the walls, so you can go inside the buildings. I just drew the buildings. I don't have any intention of going inside, but then I even drew on the Vercingetorix statue, and then the roads, I think, and stuff, and Yeah, on walls, and then then I drew the wall around Elysium itself, which I had done before, but I perfected it. And then I drew the wall around the outer edge too, but I didn't perfect it. And then the last thing I did before I went and got my sandwiches was I went and looked at my numbers calculator, my numbers visualizer that I made with Photoshop a few years ago, and it's on my Flickr. I was looking at them, and but then I realized I didn't like name them completely. I have like one soldier, which I kind of lifted the photo. I hope I don't get like copyrighted. I need to see it. Maybe hopefully that one is on Envato, and then I can just copyright it to that. But anyway, it's a soldier from above. It's just like a drawing of a soldier from above. And then I have 10, which is in the background of red, and then I have like 100 a background of yellow, and like 1,000 a background of green, and then like, there's something 10,000 background of some color. I think 10,000 is green, and then 100,000, and then 40, 20,000, 40,000, 100, 60,000, because I'm trying to make them like squares that get bigger. Million, 10 million, 100 million, 10 billion, which is more than the population of the Earth. So you can't see the individual like ones on that. It's not rasterized or vectorized like After Effects, because it was meant to be used on Google Earth. So yeah. So then I had to just calculate how big they were, which I didn't. So I renamed them. Like how much bigger one gets from the other, and then how many per side, because I never wrote that down. I only wrote like the population. So then I wrote the order so it could get ordered on there, and then I clicked on and then I wrote like how much space it is. That was the main thing that I wanted to do. So I just figured I'd write everything. So then I linked it, and I knew the space. So they said it was 80,000 people on Alesia with was it Vercingetorix besieged up there. So it was like 600 feet by 600 feet, because 40,000 is 300 by 300, I think. 600 by 600 feet, because it's 3 feet per person. And then put that in, and I sized it right. It took me a little while because it's so many people, 600 feet. I didn't want to make, adjusting it and stuff. But once you do it once, then you don't have to do it again, because you can just drag it to wherever you need, on Google Earth. Like I drug this tiny little thing that was only 50 feet by 50 feet or something, 60 meters by 60 meters, from up here in the mountains above Boulder all the way to the middle of France, so the way that you can, not lose it when you zoom out is you just put a pin on it, and then you can just go over, and then as soon as you go to the pin, and then you can see the little like hand appear, and then you can drag it. So, I did that, and then I put the other one, because it was 80,000. I put two 40,000s, and then I did a video on Google Earth where you look in from Empire State Building observation deck height, 1,250 feet, and looking at them, we can see all the people, and then you do a panorama, and then you look at the other one and go a panorama up there, and then you stop it with seeing them all. So that's what I did, and I was like, oh, that was the first time I did that. So now I think what I'm going to do is use those, because I have one already pre-made for manifold, and then use those little army guys to piece together all of the phalanxes and stuff, and the maniples of the lines of the soldiers, and all the battles that I do from now on, all of them. So I want to do it with Alesia now, and see if I can do it quickly. And if I can do it quickly, go ahead and do it with all the battles. And if I ever like have to change it because I get like called out or whatever, I can just like turn the little soldier guys into just like dots. And I don't have to redo it because it's all linked to the same file. So I just fix the file. I would have to actually change the name on all of them. But I mean the size is already there. So that's what I'm gonna do today. I mean, it'll be the rest of the day, but it's my first one. It's my first Google Earthing of a battle, and also Google Earthing of like visualizing populations of people. So I'm on new territory, so I shouldn't feel too bad about getting overwhelmed. But I did drink last night. I got 4 drinks, 4 little shooters over at the Hazel's, like at like 11 or something, because I was kind of stressed out. My mom was trying to like shut me down and stuff, and that kind of stressed me out. Anyways, let's keep this under 20 minutes. hopefully when I do the video tomorrow, maybe I'll be done with Alesia and on to the next battle. I think they're 8 of them. All right, talk to you tomorrow.